Welcome, everyone. This is the Lovable Business Podcast. My name is Mercy Bereke, and I'm your host. Today is a very special occasion because I have a very lovely guest, Monika, with me. I think I can actually tell you that we tried to record this episode before, but we ran into some technical issues. So I wanted to thank Monika for coming in here today as well to do a take number 2. We're super determined to share with you the love and the wisdom that was coming through from our previous conversation. So without further ado, Monika, would you mind saying a couple of words about yourself and introducing yourself to us and the listeners?
Of course. Hello, everyone. And thank you, Mercy, for having me here to start off with. And I want to start off with Happy Diwali as well. I have light a candle behind me, and Diwali is, you can Google it. It's a festival in India, and today is the day for Diwali, where the good wins over the evil. So it's a really interesting festival. And besides that, I obviously have Indian origin. My name is Monika, and I live in Sweden, in Malmö. And I am a businesswoman who tried really, really hard in my life, too hard, and learned to run business in a way that is not holistic. And now I've changed my way of thinking or living life in general and how to run business. I still have business, but it's my business where I've transformed into transformational coach or business mentor, and also have a marketing consulting business. So this is what I have changed to, but in a holistic way. So I help other people to transform their life in a spiritual, high awareness, work with themselves in order to reach their goals wherever they want to reach.
That sounds beautiful. To give a bit of a context to the listeners, Monika and I actually met on a female entrepreneurs breakfast a couple of weeks ago. And I remember that we connected so deeply when, basically we got introduced to each other by someone else because we both are business coaches. And we both are a bit unconventional in a sense that we use different spiritual and self-development modalities to support business owners in making, as she says, more holistic decisions. And I just remembered that, there was this instant spark when we got introduced to each other, and we were just ping-ponging things in between us. And I think we didn't spend more than like 5 to 10 minutes talking, but it was already like so impactful that I knew in that moment that I wanted to have Monika on my podcast. And the topic we wanted to discover or talk about today is the balance of masculine and feminine energies in business. And I knew that Monika both had a very personal experience with this dynamic. And also she helps others discover where they need to lean more towards to stay in balance. So I think to start off this conversation, I want to ask you, Monika, like what does masculine and feminine mean to you in your own life, reflecting on your own journey?
Let's start with the feminine. It's more easy. For me, it's like being in the feminine is listening to your intuition, listening to your gut feeling, to your feelings and emotions more. And in my upbringing, I was taught very early to not listen to these gut feelings, my emotions. don't cry like a girl, for example, was something that I heard a lot. Or don't be like a girl, whatever that means. Like, don't be too much in your feminine energy, which I took with me from very young age into my work life and also my relationships. So it's something that not being in a feminine energy, not being too weak, whatever weak is also something that is very used to not to be like a girl or in feminine. Not that feminine energy and masculine energy has anything to do with gender, but it's a way to, I think, to put etiquette in something, on something. So woman is feminine and man is masculine energy, but of course it's not. And instead, be in the masculine, be strong, be more possessive with what you're gonna do, be more actionable person, not be a vision, don't vision, put too much in, be more logic, put more facts on the table. What do you bring on the table with by fact and logic instead of what does your gut feeling says, what does your what are you feeling right now? And I think that also what I took with me in my business. And it's actually got very in a time and a place where I didn't really feel very well because I was so much in balance with my masculine and feminine energy, also in my relationships, but also in my business, both.
Can you tell us a little bit more about, because I know you had a very strict father, or a strict upbringing. You had a lot of sort of parental expectations you had to live up to, and they also brought you into business. Could you tell us a little bit more about that story? I think there's so many beautiful, lessons we can learn from what you've gone through personally.
Yeah, so basically my parents, they immigrated from India to Sweden with only thing on their mind to create money or bring food to the table because they didn't have a lot in India. So their main focus has, now my father is not here anymore, but but both my parents' focus has always been to put money, money, money. So money is masculine energy and create business. So I'm actually brought up with being entrepreneur, and I worked very early, I think from 12 or 13 years old with my parents' companies. They had several different, and so it has been really easy for me to be entrepreneur and business owner. However, not so easy to sustain and have a holistic way to it because my parents' way of thinking was always to survival mode. They survived with the business because their whole intention with the business was to bring food on the table and create so much money. There was not so much emotional love in the family, but more money in value in the family. So the family values has always been like that. And it's actually, I am saying this with all my love to my parents and my family members, and because I have a lot of love for them and understanding. This is something coming from my father's and my mother's side, with my uncle and aunts being from all of them from India and actually compete with each other, with who will earn more money, and whoever will earn more money will get more love from our grandparents. This is more especially on my father's side.
Yeah.
We actually came to my father, and my father in his on his way, he put it on us, not in a bad way, but now it's been also, I have 5 siblings. So we are 6 brothers and sisters, and it has also come to a way where I had my business with my brothers and sisters. And we also fought about not money, but about, I don't know what about, to be honest, about something. It's about ego, it's about something, and we always use money for something, but it was never about that. And it's a lot masculine energy in who took place instead of listening and to the feminine side a lot unfolded, where also my burnout, like 4 or 5 years ago, came in when I had a lot fight with my family members, and it's all coming from the generational trauma because it came from my grandparents and then my aunt and uncles fighting, and my father, even though he make the best with us, it still came to our generation. So yeah, this is the story where
Yeah. Can you tell us more about the moment when you realized that this internal friction or tension that you are experiencing might be because of the imbalance of feminine and masculine? I'm asking this question because I clearly remember in my experience, now we're not going to be talking about myself, but I clearly remember in my past when this moment clicked, like, oh my God, I've been playing the game like a boy or like a guy, and I've been imitating men, and I've been, talking badly about soft women. I've been shaming myself for being vulnerable or moody sometimes or emotional. So for me it was a very, very harsh moment, and I also know exactly which podcast that I was listening to was the one that actually made me cry, and notice, like, oh my God, this is my problem. uh, so I wonder if you had any sort of moment of awakening, or has it been a process, or what did that look like?
for me it's been a process. It's been a process with many people around me mirroring me. My daughter, for example,
Mm-hmm.
I must give credit to her, even though she's only 12. But back then she was 6. And I really remember how I was raising her.
Mm-hmm.
I was raising her to be so-called strong woman.
Yeah. Tough girl, huh?
Exactly. Yeah, I think maybe that was the turning point. It wasn't maybe not the process now when I'm talking to you, but it started there with my daughter. This is
Mm-hmm.
so true. I so remember that I was so much in my masculine energy, and I told her the same thing as my father told me: stop crying, stop feeling. I mean, of course, I didn't do this so direct, but it doesn't matter. This is the message I sent to a 6-year-old or 3-year-old. It doesn't matter. Stop crying. You can do this. You're stronger. Like, of course, you're stronger than you think, but not in a way that you're allowed to feel. In a way where you're supposed to push down your feelings. And I think somewhere in me, I know in my soul, this is not me. Something when I was doing, because I was not 100% that kind of parent, but sometimes that side of me came up. I didn't really have the balance. Either I was too feminine with her, like too soft, or I was too hard or too masculine. So I didn't really have any balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I seeked actually help for that. Like, how can I make better for my daughter? That was my first step, to go to a therapist. Like, how can I be better mother? Because this is not working out for me. So yeah, I think I had a feeling inside me that this is not working out for me. So she is my turning point, and she's actually the reason why I'm working so much with myself. And then after that, it was my father's death, I think, because then it became very clear to me that whoever I am trying to make proud is not even here.
Mm.
So the way I am in my business, I had my business not only, but majority, the reasons why I had it was to make him proud of me.
Yeah.
Obviously, I am very driven woman, and whatever I would work in, I would make very good, because this is how I am as a person. But the reason why I wanted to have success equal to money, more money, this was how it was in my family. It means that he will love me more or be more proud of me. So the
Mhm.
reason why I even had the business was wrong from the beginning. So I think these two, like my daughter from the begin with, but in a relationship way, and then my father in my business, and then my, of course, my family members in general who I worked with.
Competed with.
Yeah, I wouldn't say competed in a way that we competed, but I think we show each other's shadows,
Uh-huh.
because many times my brother or my sister could say, "Oh, you're like our father." Like I was the shadow for their own mirroring.
Mhm.
So this is what they need to work on, obviously. And I will do my own work with myself, whatever it is what I need to. So I've been living in, when it comes to my siblings, again, all love to them if they're listening. Like their perception has been my truth for a long time. And
Mhm.
I am not my father, I am not my mother, I am Monika. I am not masculine energy only, I am not feminine energy only. I am not only a mother to my daughter or something. It's me, I'm Monica. I am me. And what am I? So that has been my journey to being a lot in the feminine and masculine energy, instead of taking other people's perception of me and being the truth of who I am,
Mm.
because I am more.
You There's two things that I want to come back to. One of them is you mentioned the success, that success used to be equaled to money. How do you define success today?
Today, success is more being true to yourself, doing something that is you're following your alignment with your soul's purpose, finding out what or do you want to do in your life and following that. Because when you do what you are here supposed to do on this earth right now, 2025, 2025, so when you found out that this is your success, working with yourself is your success. Because when you do that, your business, your relationships with yourself, everything unfolds in so beautiful way. So for me, this is success. Success is not one thing, and money or I'm married or I have children or these etiquettes that we put on each other. It's more success is something when you follow yourself and what you're supposed to do, and you align yourself with that.
I think that some of the listeners we have might be wondering, what's the ultimate sign for you that you found sort of your soul's purpose? Because I think many of us go into business doing something that we feel like we're good at. For example, my previous business was a software startup. I started that business because I knew I was good in the subject. Um, I knew that I understood the customers for that software. I knew I understood their pain. And then I paired up with someone who was able to come up with a well thought out solution. But I feel is so different to, like, the motivation to start that business was so different than the motivation to start my current business, which is the coaching business. What what were the signs for you that told you, like, yes, you're actually on the right path and you are fulfilling what feels like your soul's purpose?
It has been a journey to find out. It's so easy for me to sit here and say, follow your soul's purpose. Let's do this and transform your life, because we've been programmed by cultural beliefs, religious beliefs, or whatever family values that you're supposed to be and do what you've been taught to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so, first of all, it's uh, working with yourself is important. So for me, it has been to work. Again, my father's death was a little bit turning point for me. Why I'm doing what I'm doing, for what I'm doing. So what is the purpose of me working here, spending my time here with this business? And when you start to ask yourself this kind of question, the universe responds in some magical way, and it starts to unfold so many things in around you. So I didn't actually, now I'm saying I didn't do anything, but of course I did only by thinking. But if you put that in your mind to start off with, what is my soul's purpose? The universe will guide you in a way that is beyond your imagination. And we all have access to the universe. You don't need to sit on the mountains and meditate for hours to have connection with the universe. We all have that. But first, starting with the question, if I think about my own journey, I started to ask the second guess or second question, all my, what is the reason I'm here, for what I'm here? And then the universe slowly removed my business, my family members, my other relationships, and putting me in other work. I worked as businessman coach in a company briefly, but I already knew this is something I'm just here for a while because it's something more. But I didn't rush it. It slowly came more and more clear for me that I wanted to be a transformational coach, and I let it come through me a little bit more with time instead of pushing it. Because always, again, when I was living in my masculine energy more than my feminine or imbalance, I pushed very far to get results. And that was the end goal, results, instead of just enjoying the journey. So for me, it has been that enjoy the journey and let universe do the work for me, even though I am the one who is actually running the show.
Mm.
So take a deep breath and take the leap of faith. For me, it's a big thing to being high level business owner to being transformational coach. It's a big change for me. It's a transformational change also for me to inform that is what I'm going to work with, and it's take the leap of faith. It will unfold in a beautiful way. And still, I think this is something that is I will never stop chasing what is my soul's purpose. I will continue. So I'm not done yet. This is just the beginning. And I don't know what you think, Mercy, but this is something that you work with yourself and your soul's purpose all the time.
Yeah, I was in a very almost like I wasn't even here while you were talking, because you were talking and I sort of replayed my past in my head while I was listening to your voice was guiding me basically.
Oh, so
It-
beautiful.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Because what I said about my previous business, I went to a startup incubator. So basically, my purpose was to build and run a $1 million company, a multi-million-dollar company. Of course, everyone who is interested in the startup world at some point will think that I might be the person or part of the team that builds the next unicorn. And here in the Nordics, I think that would be, we don't have a lot of unicorns in the Nordics. So that was a big sort of dream. And funnily enough, uh, when I started working on this business idea seriously, and as I said, I had a business partner, and we had these investors who we were supposed to pitch in 3 or 4 months' time. That was exactly the time when I started the therapy. I've been waiting, I think, 7 or 8 months to get an appointment with a therapist. So it just so happened that I basically, my first appointment with the therapist was 2 weeks before I met my business partner. And already from the beginning, I felt like, oh, I'm now on this sort of journey to try to uh, fix myself emotionally, mentally. And now, the fruit is right for me to start a startup finally, which is a dream I had for, I don't know, 10, 15 years.
Mm.
And immediately in that moment, it started to feel like, oh, maybe the timing is not right. Like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have started with therapy, or I wish I wouldn't have started with business, because now the two are contradicting a little bit. And it wasn't anything, that the therapy itself did. It's more like the process in me has already started, and I put a lot of effort into my therapy as well. I took it very, very seriously. So it was just this point where emotionally and let's say, like, from a mental health perspective, I was becoming one version of me, and at work I was becoming another version of me. And one of them was the ultimate feminine, the one who was like listening to feelings, understanding, writing things down, like not being judgy, not relying on outside validation, just being present with yourself, listening to yourself, regulating yourself. And being a startup founder is you reacting to um, what's the word I'm looking for? To you reacting to, like, external impulses all the time and trying to stay 1 or 2 steps ahead, and then getting a lot of sort of criticism for your business, and then taking that criticism and then building an even better version of your business. So I felt like one of them was taking me left and the other one was taking me right. So already in the beginning, I felt this, like, divide starting to open up in me. And I really wondered, like, oh, how am I going to pull this off? Because now if I start this business, if I get my investors, I think my next sort of 10 years is going to be dedicated to this business. And I thought that I can force myself, like, yeah, it's only 10 years. I thought that it's the best case scenario if the business even survives 10 years. But I don't think that I think I underestimated how much this journey will impact how I feel with my business. It really drove me to a point where it felt like it's a complete mismatch to the person I'm becoming. That the startup I was building was something that Mercy a couple of years ago would have really wanted to do. But Mercy right now is just chasing an old dream, something that is not even a dream anymore. Part of it was probably also, like, I saw building a venture funded startup for what it is, which is not glorious at all. It's more gory and disappointing. But at the same time, like, my sense that, oh, this is not my place to be, and this is not my environment, it just got much, much stronger. And I put off listening to this inside voice for quite a while. But then when things came to like a point where I felt like I have to leave my business, the sort of the emotional wave was very, very strong. And it took me a couple of months to recover from a decision that was supposed to make me feel relieved immediately as soon as I made it. But I couldn't go there to feel relieved because I was still so caught up in the, yeah, like the hurdle of it. I don't know.
You know, thank you, because you're putting my words into an example.
Mhm.
This is exactly what I mean. There is no that you do this or that, and then you find out like instant your soul's purpose is that you order something from the universe, which is going to the therapy, for example, because you found out that this is something I want to work, but also you wanted to do your venture with your business. And then it drifted you to two different parts. So who am I in the end? You know, it starts only with a thought. This is the thing.
Yeah.
And then in the end, now here you are, because obviously you found out that your soul's purpose is to transform other people and help and being business coach and being more in the feminine energy, or to find the balance at least. So, I mean, this is so beautiful how you're explaining and your journey.
And I think this startup experience was also necessary for
Yeah.
me to understand what it means to build a business that you despise, to be someone who has to put in a lot of work, not just hours wise, but mental work, responsibility, planning, all of these things into something that you feel is not truly yours, and it's not truly, it doesn't fit. Like I was trying to form myself around the idea that I am a startup founder, only to realize that I was never meant to, or I'm not meant to feel that mold right now. Maybe I was a couple of years ago, but then the opportunity wasn't there. And I just feel like this was such a profound learning. And on the other hand, I also realized how I got, I don't know, I had actually two-ish, let's say two big sides of business coaches. One of them is the accelerator, one of them was outside. And when you realize that you get completely conflicting advice from the two sides, but they all tell you exactly what to do, it's just like there couldn't be a bigger divide between the advice you get from two sides. Then I realized, like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? This party tells me do this party tells me do that. How am I supposed to know? And this question of how am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know? It just kept coming up over and over and over again. And I didn't feel like I was in a position to listen to myself because I didn't stop. I was just pushing, next day, next meeting, next customer, next payment, next bug in the system. And I feel many people build businesses from a place of passion and interest and love for something. But as the years go by, it's morphed into something that they cannot even recognize anymore. So if it wasn't for this experience, I wouldn't be able to help people recognize where things are going sideways, or how can we go back to ourselves and this, like, understanding this original passion, and what was it that made you start your business to begin with.
Yeah.
To then learn how to sort of fix things, or where to change course to minimize the tension and the sometimes even hatred you have for your business.
Yeah, and transfer it, because the hatred is coming from somewhere. And obviously, both you and we started our businesses for a reason that didn't resonate with our soul, which made it difficult for us to pursue or continue at least with whatever we were doing. And the universe is always there to help us or see the truly who we are. And it started with a question. And it's interesting that you're talking about your mentors, because you had accelerator and I didn't go to any, well, I went to business school, but I mean, I didn't have any business mentor when I was running my business, because I thought that this is also being in the masculine. I know the best. I don't need help. I know how to make business. I know how to run things, or at least I listened to some people, and then slowly it started growing in me. I need a mentor. I need someone who has done the journey before, so I don't need to do the going the hard way. But I never understood that what I meant was that I need a spiritual business mentor who will make me realize what is my soul's purpose. So this is actually how I also, after my awareness, increasing my awareness, okay, my daughter is my mirroring me, my father is why I'm doing my business with my siblings, for example, and now I understand I have this and that in my therapy, the challenges with myself. What do I do with this information now? And what do I do with this when I had the awareness of my own triggers? Is when I reached out. I actually looked for a business mentor or a mentor itself, a life coach, for I think 2-3 years before I found my mentor, which I went to a 1-year program. I'm still there and doing the coaching and all this kind of thing with my business or transformational coach or whatever she wants to call herself. But she's amazing, both of them. Her name is Shimrit Nativ and Carmen Fonbeck. I would give credit to both of them. Both of them are my coaches. So they helped me realize, so what is their soul's purpose, but not in order to tell me what I'm supposed to do, but in order with the tools and techniques and working with myself, and it will unfold by itself. The same as with you. When you went to therapy, it's the same with me. I worked with therapy before, and now I wanted to get it in action. And with our experience with our business before, we needed to go through that in order to share our story with other people, and in order to be the best business coaches that we two can be, both you and me, in different ways. And it's the same with my business coach. So we all need coaches. We all need a mentor who will guide us and help us to come in a way where we feel more aligned. Because, this is also in so masculine that, oh, I am alone and there's survival of the fittest. I think survival of the fittest is the first thing that I learned in business school. Me and my friends. So all of us like, okay, the more stronger you are, this is actually what it is. The stronger you are, the person will survive in the end. So you're in the survival mode.
Yeah.
So this is what they teach you in business school. So
Yeah, I know this is not necessarily the point of this episode, but I would argue that it's the mentality we have in most of the systems that we have built as a society right now. If you imagine the job market, it's also very much reflecting you shouldn't just meet the requirements. You should succeed, exceed the requirements. You always have to show up as someone who is so ridiculously outstanding that it's unbelievable that a person like you exists. And if you're not that, good luck.
Exactly.
And I think this is anything but realistic, because it really pushes people to, first of all, be extremely self-centered and self-observed. Second of all, it teaches you to continue retelling your story in a way that it makes the most impression, And I feel we're always competing with others when we open social media as well, right? You open social media and probably one of your first thoughts is like, oh wow, this person's Instagram page looks so neat and so organized and so well structured, like mine sucks. Or this girl looks so thin, athletic, beautiful skin color. Why don't I have that? Like it's this constant comparison, and as if we were in a race. This is there in all aspects of our lives. And I think in order to be as authentic to yourself as you can and try to, because I think right now, 2025, end of October, my idea of authenticity is that you will never find the authentic self. I think you will always get close to understanding yourself, but at the same time, you always change. The more you learn about yourself, also the more your view on the world changes. So you're not a static something. You're a dynamic, almost like a dance of different elements that make up your personality. And the more you're trying to get close to that picture, the less you will care about participating in this competition. But that doesn't mean that the competition is not there, or at least in my case, I'm still not like, I don't think I'll ever be 100%, successful in stopping with this comparison talks and thoughts. But it's a much better place to live in, where you acknowledge like, yeah, now here I am comparing myself again to someone else on the internet, or comparing my offering to someone else, or comparing the number of clients I have to someone else. But then I take a next step and I'm like, cool. Can I draw some inspiration from this person? Would I want to be like this person? Sometimes the answer is not at all. I have a like public figure that I really, really like, Stephen Bartlett, who has the Diary of a CEO podcast.
Yeah.
I respect that person to the bits, and I find him very, very inspirational. But I would not want to live his life for a single day. I find pieces of, because he also shares quite a lot about like how his day-to-day looks like in like a vlog format. And just because I love the conversations he's having and the level of intellectualness that he brings to the world, I really appreciate it. But I could never imagine myself like having those packed calendars all the time or traveling that much. I am much more of a stay-at-home person. I used to travel as a traveling consultant, but now I'm in a phase of my life where I enjoy being home or being close to home, being able to spend time with my family, and have different kind of challenges in my life. So it's just a much better place to be in, where I can have this conversation with myself and I can bring myself back to like, okay, what do I want? What do I value in life? How do I want my business to look like? Whereas just picking a random person and this week I'm trying to be like him, and then the next week you're going to probably find someone else who you want to be more like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a question about back to the original question of masculine and feminine energies and the decisions we make from these energies. What do you see in your clients? Could you tell us some examples where you're able to spot when someone's too much in either, and how can you guide them back to a bit more balance?
Um, I work with different tools where, for example, they set goals or they realize by themselves by doing the process itself, by working with themselves in a work that where they are, even either they are too much in the feminine or too much in the masculine energy. So they realize by themselves, and of course they tell me where they are when they realize it. So I never tell them where they are because it's not my place to take. It's their journey, and they are in the focus. The journey is in the focus, and it's amazing how I will talk about myself instead. It's amazing when I understood that I am too much in my masculine energy, that I am not, I to that extent that I'm not worthy to receive, for example, love. Now we talk very vulnerable stuff and very like I am not worthy to receive love because I am too much in my masculine energy, and because I have a tool where you this is something I did with myself, also with my mentor, that so what are you worthy to receive? I'm worthy to receive this, 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 this. What is holding you back to receive that? And then I start writing, oh my God, in the process, like, okay, it's because of X, Y, Z. I am holding back from love because I am too much in my masculine energy, not letting people to get close to me, being the breadwinner, or being have the big boy pants from work to home. For example, like I am being full out energy, 100% giving at work, 100% giving at home. So I am not, first of all, this is not something that is sustainable in a long way for a woman or even for a man. Again, it's not about gender. It's so it led for me at least to burnout. So take a now I lost it what I was saying. So it can lead to a burnout when you have the big boy pants both in the home and in the work. So I found out that in my process with worthy of receive. And when I found out that, okay, God, I need to work more with the feminine and letting the feminine flow more in me. So this is what I work also with my clients to at least first realize by themselves. Because when I realized it, I didn't do a lot more than increasing my awareness, because I already know what is masculine. I know what is feminine. So it doesn't, it's not only that you know what is what, you also need to put that in the flow in your body, in your consciousness, in your subconsciousness. That when I made that process with worthy to receive, for example, I realized I am too much in my masculine to receive love or money. It can be whatever. So I can't receive that until I heal my female energy wounds.
Mm.
And then I started with that process. Like, okay, first it was the realization and creating the awareness. And then after it was more, now I'm talking about it like this is nothing. So now I already healed, or at least have the conscious and the awareness of it. So and now I will, when I realized I am worthy to receive in feminine and masculine way, where I'm putting it balanced, not in being in the place where I am the one who is in the lead. I will take the action by myself. I don't need help with someone else, or being strong, more being close to myself, intuitive, gut feeling, more soft with myself, with my feelings at least. I am by myself attracting what I am worthy to receive, what I want in my life. So it goes on, all things go so hand in hand. My goals, my visions, my action steps. Now I'm mixing feminine and masculine, because being visionary is being feminine, and being masculine is taking the actions. So in order to just say, I want to go to China, for example, yeah, it's easy to have a vision. I want to go to China, and you get image. But then you also need to book the ticket. So this is the masculine energy to actually doing it, and the feminine to vision. Yeah. So it goes hand in hand. This is what I work, and by process itself, the clients create the awareness of it, and then I guide them through it. So this is basically it. Like I'm saying it, this is really easy, but it takes time and it's a lot work.
No, and I think if someone is in a similar journey, you will be able to resonate with you. That also sometimes we like to talk about masculine and feminine on a very like conceptual level, but the everyday practicality of it, not just every day, every moment, almost every thought, every action,
Yeah.
it takes a while till you get to a point where you start assessing yourself. And I realized that I also, yeah, as I'm also in the process of sort of healing my wounded feminine and trying to give it more space in my life, that whenever I have a sort of self-criticizing, almost self-sabotaging thought or yeah, thought process in my head, that is always coming from the masculine. It's never about it always feels like the masculine is criticizing me trying to become more feminine or trying to go more with the flow. Or before we started recording, we talked with Monika about the energies that were in the air last week. We were supposed to re-record this episode last week, and I don't know, 1 or 2 hours before the conversation, I texted Monica that I actually don't really feel too well. I feel like I would not be able to bring the right energy in the conversation, and I would love it if we would reschedule. And part of me was criticizing myself for like, oh, you're being such a weak person, like putting something, like making an inconvenience to Monica just because you don't feel super well. You have a full day ahead of you, you should get to work. But then what my body and my mind actually needed was to rest and to just consider the time as an actual break for myself and a time to recharge, and then start this week with more energy and more, yeah, just simply more presence. Because it also can get to a point where life is just a little bit too much, like there's, waves from every direction. And my masculine side would tell me, okay, try to dodge the bullets, or dodge the balls, and just keep going. But my feminine is telling me inside, like, maybe this is time for you to just like sit back a little bit and understand what's happening here and understand what the next step should be. But don't, handle it from a reactionary point of view. Just
Exactly.
let things simmer a little bit and see them through. See them a bit beyond what they seem to be.
It's so beautiful that you're saying is because what you're explaining is being outside the thunder. Can you say that in English? Maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
being outside the storm eye, maybe is the correct translation. So you can see yourself outside the situation from higher awareness. So you can still feel the feeling because we're humans, of course. We have our days, ups and downs, and just you explained with waves. But going outside, feel the feeling, not going in the feeling. It's two different things. Feel the feeling without going too much in the feeling, and still, have the highest awareness that the the law of polarity, for example, there is day and there's night. There's dark and there's light. Now we're coming back to Diwali. There, light is nothing without the dark, and dark is nothing without the light. It's both together. And it's, again, the feminine is nothing without the masculine, and the masculine is nothing without the feminine. It's the balance and going back and forth and creating what is what and in which situations. And that is what exactly you make. And you beautifully even asked me, and I beautifully said, yes, of course. Also, I'm not having the best day, so let's do this. So it's like also, when we create that awareness and the frequency in ourselves, we also attract that in other people, which also is so beautiful how we also answer instead of being angry, which is not what is the intention to begin with. It's just to really redo this another day. And it's so beautiful. And how to take care of us in a beautiful way. Also, I want to share something personal here that when you were talking, I was thinking that I think maybe it's the other question that you asked before, that I think it was from the University of Receive, that my female wound, or energy wound, is from my mother. And my masculine energy wound is from my father. Not, again, it's nothing about the gender. It could have been the opposite. But it's just that in this case, it's the gender, that my father was very authoritative. He was very hard, Indian upbringing, a lot of it, the culture in a new country for him, and so on, back and forth. And my mother, typical not housewife, because she wasn't, she worked actually. But he was in the charge of the financial, like he was the headmaster of the family, and she was the one who cooked dinner. And if we wanted to eat something, we're going to our mother. If we wanted money, we're going to our father. Very strict rules and that kind of thing. Typical Indian upbringing. And I brought that to my own relationship when I got older, because I thought that this is the way it's supposed to be. The only thing that was that I was holding both the masculine and the feminine, like I am both. So I am attracting a person. It's nothing to do with the roles, but it's being more in the masculine and the feminine. So I thought that because I didn't want to have the life my mother had, because it's not only about cooking, also the dynamic of the relationship they had is not something I wanted, that my father was the way he was with my mother, for example. This is not something I want. So I attracted very young age to have that kind of energy inside me in order not to be a victim. As a child, it took me somewhere also as adult, that I don't want to be a victim as my mother, or whatever my father, both good and bad with her. So be in the masculine energy in order to survive in this world, because otherwise you only have two options: be my mother or be my father. Oh my God, this is very deep for me as well. So you only have options. You can change mother and father to masculine or feminine energy, because this is exactly what it is. So I choose being in the masculine energy, because being in the feminine is being a victim, because the whole society is built on this in my world. Now, again, this is not the truth. This is not the reality. The reality is what we make it to be. So my reality from the young child, the upbringing, is to be in the masculine, is that you're more superior to someone, you are more stronger in that way. And I took this also in my relationship, in adult relationship in love relationships, to be honest. And so in the end, I married my mother and I'm the father, but I'm actually looking for my grandmother's love. And my grandmother is who actually took care of me my first 6 years in India. So, it's, this is very personal and very deep. And also something that is my journey, because you need to heal or at least for me, I needed to heal that. I wanted to heal that, because of course I don't want my future relationship, no matter if it's a friend, or love or business partner, even to be a person who is healing my feminine and masculine wounds, or being in the victim or superior energy. This is not my reality. This is not my mentality. This is not the truth.
Yeah.
So,
And you also made me reflect a lot. You and I talked about it before, but maybe the listeners don't know that I also come from a very Eastern European family. My sort of, I got my family values from my grandparents and my parents. And these family values were shaped by the communist regime or the communist, way of living, where they were always in fear. They prioritized work over everything else. They were supposed to push as hard as possible. We have too many examples in our family where people push themselves to not burn out, because of course you were not meant to be like mentally ill, because then you were locked away, you were tortured. It was a terrible fate for those who needed some sort of mental help back in the days. But the people push themselves towards cancer, heart attack, stroke, and it's something that is it made me also like a tough girl who has to push through. So when you were talking about the patterns and going down, I've seen that my grandpa, who was I closest to, he was also this, like, he was the absolute embodiment of masculinity. And my grandmother had a lot of feminine in her, but she had to take care of the family, as in cooking, cleaning, making sure kids have everything. But at the same time, she had to work extremely hard, physical work next to my grandfather. So she was made into a very manly woman. And then they made my mom and her generation, where my mother saw this dynamic and she felt that she has to become both in one person. She has to be both the mother and the father. And the relationships she attracted into her life were men who were always below her. Like, there was always a clear hierarchy in the family. She was married to my biological father and my stepfather, but both men were like just in a supporting role in the marriage. And this is how she raised me up as well, and my sister, that we have to be both men and women in one body. We have to be independent. We cannot rely on anyone except for each other. With my sister, like, if we're in trouble, we should always seek comfort from each other. But other than that, like, build a life where you're independent. Build a life where if someone decides to leave you or someone dies or whatever, you make sure that you're still okay and sort of untouched. And this is the story I'm trying to rewrite right now. And I saw that this was very, very true in my marriage in the first couple of years before I started working on healing myself as well. And the version of me that I am today in my marriage is very close to the version of me I am in business as well, where I have sort of the decades-long training of thinking with, logic and facts and money and efficiency and optimization. But I choose the gentle, the attraction, rather than, chasing things, where I choose the talking to my clients and audience as humans and not using fancy, intimidating words, because I think in business, it's also like signaling some sort of authority if you use like very complex words or like abbreviations, um, as if you were part of an elite.
Yeah.
And I choose to be, I choose inclusivity. I choose um, using words that are simpler and still carry a deep message. So, and I'm doing this in a language that's not even my mother tongue, right? So,
Yeah. This is the thing.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, but your story just made me reflect a lot on how, for us as well, like the dynamics have changed over the three generations that I saw and I witnessed and I was part of.
Yeah, it's my grandmother, we let me rephrase it. We are product of our grandparents' trauma.
Hmm.
So my grandmother, she got married off when she was 13 in arranged marriage because of course it was first of all very, very normal in India at that time. First of all. And I can't even imagine how she lived in that culture at that time, which was also very common here in Europe. So it's nothing to do with that. It's more common in certain areas. And then my mother, the same. She got also married off not when she was 13, a little bit older, but around 20. I don't know, 20 something. And her first mission was to kids, and she had really, really bad experience at my father's with the in-laws,
Mhm.
where they were not so good with her physically and mentally with her. And my father, he was the eldest child, so she was the first um, daughter-in-law in the family.
Mhm.
And in India, where they lived together, the whole
Yeah.
families. My mother moved into my father's home, so more like a slave in the family. This is, I know, and it's a very big thing to say, but this is my take on it. However, and then moving to Sweden and then getting the freedom, whatever it means. And then, for me to be even talking about these kind of things here is a culture breach right now. It's like I have so much freedom to even talk. And then the fourth generation or whatever we can call it, my daughters, they are like totally so free woman. I mean, both, well, I hope to be more in the masculine and feminine energy, not being a woman who needs to put in a boxes where they are supposed to be, or both having the masculine and the feminine on both corners. I sometimes I can see that in my daughter, in my oldest. My youngest is still like a baby, even though she's 8, she's like a baby. But the oldest, she's 12, but she feels sometimes like 15, 16. Her mind is very developed and very reflecting. So she is somewhat, sometimes a lot in the masculine energy, where when I heal my masculine and my feminine wound, I automatically I am healing her, because sometimes I
Mhm.
need to, like, it's okay to feel, or it's okay to be more feminine or being in the balance of it. So she's I'm so amazing, and I think I'm so thrilled to see how this generation will come up forward after us. Because we are doing the changes, you, me, and the listeners, because of course the listeners are listening here for a reason. It's
Yeah.
resonating with them for something. So we are already making a change with our words. So this is also why I'm sharing something very personal, and also you, Mercy, with your things. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think the sentiment of what you said is also something I carry within me, even though I don't have my own children yet. I feel that the work we're doing right now, especially, putting ourselves out on the internet, putting our vulnerabilities on a platter and showing it to whoever comes around without filter, without any requirements. It's part of our job to sort of heal the next generation already now, and to be the voices of the change. And in my case, it's very much about work culture, whether it's in like in the corporate environment or like starting your own business, that I feel that is my calling to do, to change the rules of the game, or no, not to be that pretentious, to help people understand that there are no rules to the game, that you can do anything in the way you want. Of course, you might have to bear the consequences because your employer will still think in very like boxed in ways. And for them, like productivity is between 9 to 5. But the reality is so different from them. So if you don't feel like you fit into a 9 to 5 sort of work environment, that doesn't mean that you have a huge problem and you need to fix yourself. It just simply means that you notice that you operate differently. And already that awareness is taking you much further than those people who never realize why they're always feeling like they're dragging their asses to work, and they do that for decades and just find no inspiration or meaning in what they're doing. So I think this is something that is our duty right now, because we are the millennials are the generation who is in charge right now, so to say.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have to adjust certain societal expectations to make it easier for the next generation.
I totally agree. And we are a generation that is questioning the beliefs and the system that is set up, which is amazing. And not that I do soul reading for a living, but I do it as fun because it's my interest. So I made a soul reading for myself, my mother, and my daughter, all 3 generations. And I have number 5, which is freedom. And also my mother has number 5, which is also freedom, like feeling free.
Sorry, could you explain what soul reading is?
Okay, soul reading, yeah. Soul reading is that you can read by your name, like my name, full name, my birth name, or my name that is actually what I have today, and the time of birth and place of birth. If you put that into somewhere, you can also do that on ChatGPT. To be honest, I can give you the prompts if you want, guys, and not to say them now, but I can give it after, so you can do it by yourself. So you put your name, you put your place of birth and time of birth, and then it unfolds a different number, which is the frequency of your name, expression, the soul destiny number, what you're here to do. Again, we're talking about what is the soul's purpose. Not that this is the subject for today, but it's actually everything goes and hand in hand, because it's actually to do with why you maybe can be more in the masculine or the feminine. It explains a bit, and so it gives you your challenges, your karmic lessons, what you're here to do, what you can do. For example, for mine now, I don't remember my heart, but it's something that I am here to teach, express myself using my voice, which I'm doing right now, and I am an inspirational person according to my soul contract. So this is not something I am saying, and not that I am inspirational person. This is my interpretation, maybe, but it like I am my soul, or some people have the energy to inspire other people.
Yeah.
So this is in my number as well, in my name. So this is soul contract that you can read, and you can take this step, how far you want. I put also Vedic,
Mhm.
like there are 12 houses in Indian astrology. So also I put that in my soul reading. I also put the Chinese, not that I know so much about the Chinese, but I put more about the Vedic because this I know from a very young age. So Indian astrology, where the house is now, according to the universe, with the planets, with my me as a parent, me as a daughter, me as a love partner or friend, or me my business. So this is actually something true that I put myself, my soul. This is I make on Chat GPT, so I can actually show you guys. If we can have another podcast for that if they want. But so I put that, and also I put potential business partner in ChatGPT with their full name. Are they people that I can work with
Mm.
without even knowing who they are? I don't know
Yeah.
who they are. So this is, of course, I will go with the gut feeling to begin with, but let the universe make a little bit for me as well. So I put that, and I put the name, and I put my name, and if we are a match or not a match, or what can the challenges be.
Mhm.
9 out of 10, I already know this kind of thing because uh, you have a feeling. So the soul contract is only confirming what you already know. This is the thing. So if we go back to that, first you go to therapy, you can create your awareness, you increase. I have this is challenges that I need to work with, and then you work with in a program or whatever you need to actually put that in action with different tools with a business manager, and then you go into a soul contract and you understand this is how fast it goes. Then you really understand of because you already know what is the reason you're in masculine, feminine, or your soul purpose, or what you're here to do, and the mirrors and the shadows and the light and the dark and everything. So the soul contract is only reflecting what you already know when you have
Mm.
these steps. So for me, it was more, okay, thank you. And of course, more confirmation of myself that I'm on the right way. So it doesn't say to you that, okay, now you'll be a business coach, because being free, express, inspire, talk on stage can be so much.
Yeah.
You can be a doctor and still do all these things. So yeah,
Yeah.
so this is a soul contract which I make with us three, my daughter, myself, and my mother. And my mother and me, interesting enough, we had the same number 5. I think it just was the expression number. And it's about being free. And I understood what it means for me. But then when not that, my mother had the same. And I was like, Mom, you have 5. And she's like, okay, what does it mean? I said, it means like me. And then I started explaining. Again, this is also a personal share. But she said, I understand, Monica. And I said, what do you understand? I understand what is to be free. Because after your father is not here now, I feel free in a different way. Of course, she felt fear also with him, but he was so much in the masculine energy with her that she didn't need to take care of the masculine part of her.
Mm.
But she had a longing to have that.
Yeah.
She understood that only because she was too much in the feminine. Sorry, mother, because I'm talking about your personal life, but this is so beautiful, and I want to share this. Not that I do that in general, but it's because it's not a big thing to share, because it would help more people to understand that. So when the masculine left her, no matter what it was, in this case it was death, but she needed to go to the masculine because that's how she needs to take care of the financial, she needs to pay the bills, or take care of the house they have. She needs to make that thing. No one is gonna do that for her. It's she now. So, and now she's with light. She's feeling with light. She's feeling so free. She's feeling I'm doing this, and she felt bad for feeling that. I said, don't feel bad. This is so beautiful, and he's smiling at you. This is what he wants. He
Yeah.
wants that for you. And so it's nothing bad. All is totally where we are supposed to be, and everything is okay. So it's amazing. And my daughter, I don't know what she will make. So in 10 years, we will have the podcast again. So we will see what her number will say. But she is going in the same way with the freedom and stuff. So we will see how it unfolds with her.
Well, I cannot wait to see that ChatGPT prompt.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, we will have a new podcast with that.
Yeah. Monica, our time is up for today. I think we could talk for another week uninterrupted, you and I. So I'm sure that there will be, we will continue this discussion or these discussions. For those who would like to reach out to you, learn more about your work, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram for now. And I think you can share it. The link is monica.day. No, sorry, it's monicaday.shanti.
Mm-hmm.
But you can share it with them so they can find the link.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this, again, beautiful. This was our second discussion about masculine and feminine.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how, we ended up in different areas of life, but I really, really enjoyed having both conversations with you. And I also wanted to say that with the last podcast episode I released, I got almost 60 listeners, which was a big record for me. So
Wow.
for all of you who have been here and who were part of the 60, thank you so much for supporting us. I think this is just a feedback to me that I should keep going and doing this podcast. And I hope that now that I have a lovely guest with me, this will reach even more people and that we can build something beautiful and, something together that is full of learnings and full of wisdom.
Yes, thank you, Mercy, for having me here and all the shares and the retakes the second time. And the congratulations for your success with the podcast. And I'm sure this is a sign from the universe that keep going. And every listener don't take it for granted, of course. And thank you for having me here and listening to me. And you asking the questions. Very beautiful conversation we had. I hope to be back one day.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much. And all of you have a beautiful day ahead of you. And we'll be back with the next episode. Thank you, everyone. Bye.